This was a house that Ihsas Khan, the Minto terrorist from September 2016, lived in. The rental history search I did around that time, and as you can see, it's got no rental history. So from this, it appears like Ihsas Khan wasn't renting the house. Now, this is a domain.com site, and they've got it only been rented after Ihsas's escapades, and he's no longer living there. So this also confirms from a separate source that it appears like he wasn't renting the house. And if you look at the property history there, so it would appear that Ihsas's mother, because he was living with her prior to her death, before he's living alone, had bought the house back in 2001, and he's grown up there and stayed there the whole time until the latest escapades. And we could assume that Ihsas would have been in her will and the title of the house had transferred over to Ihsas. And from that mystery transaction where the price is unknown and the agent is unknown, in the month before the terror attack, state's terror attack in August 2016, the title has changed hands away from Ihsas. It certainly indicates that Ihsas had to at least be coerced into being complicit into this terror attack. I at one point thought that he was just a patsy, low IQ, and they just manipulated him through the whole thing and he had no idea of what's going on. But after I saw the taser footage where he was acting it out and going along with it, kind of indicates that he believes that he's a part of it. So that this change of title also seems to confirm that. Of course, that doesn't mean that they're not going to move the goalposts on him once he's incarcerated. And he goes from, being complicit or partly complicit to then being an actual full-on patsy, but there's not much he can do about it because they've got him in jail. From that title transfer in August and then a subsequent sale only 4 months later indicates that the Ihsas wasn't going to go back there, and that once they'd finished with the house as part of the operation, they were going to offload it. The only reason I could think that they bothered to transfer the title is that if they'd left it in Ihsas's name, I think once you're in jail, and this is just guesswork, other people might know better than me, I think you have a lot of your rights are limited, and you certainly just can't leave and go and sell houses, and that would certainly impede you. And there might be legal barriers to selling a house, once you're in jail. So I'm not sure exactly how that went, but it just seems to me it'd be a lot simpler if they just wanted to offload the house to just transfer the title just prior to it, and then it's a nice clean sale and they don't have to bother. And Ihsas is going back there and it's all sort of packaged up. And certainly there's a possibility that Ihsas's payoff in this was the sale price of that house that they haven't disclosed. They may have sold it for 100 or 200,000 above market value. Hence, like I just said, they haven't shown it. That could be his payoff. That's certainly a possibility. Ihsas might have agreed to on the proviso that he is found mentally unfit to stand trial and then has a limited time in a mental institution and gets released back with all this extra money. I think it's more likely, given that there are indications he was at least partially compliant, that they've double-crossed him. Fate is either indefinite detention, which they can do under terror laws. That was a specific terror law they brought in a mental institution, because they're not going to incarcerate him and convict him. I already know that, and I'll explain that in another vid. Or, that's probably his, if they've double-crossed him, that's probably his best outcome. His other outcome, and they might use that money from the sale of the house to fund that because they don't like to spend their own money. Or, he could always, commit suicide like Alice Fardi, supposedly, if you know what I mean. Let's finish off with, this was the realestate.com search that I did around the time of that sale. And as you can see, the August 16 transaction is in there, NA. Yeah, no one needs to know the price. But I was looking for it again just recently. It was just where I found the domain one. But I first looked at this site again. Now, if you look at the URL up there and then have a look at it today, you can see that the mystery transfer of title, the sold, because that's a legal transaction, has been removed. So it was there and someone has gone in and removed it. And the same as on a few of the other property sites, it doesn't appear. It still only appears on the domain. That may change pretty quickly because it appears that they do go through the internet and try and scrub as much as they can off that proves that these things are fake. So the domain, that transaction may not remain on the domain website for too much longer.